Well, what a day I have had so far, and I'm going to end it at Edale railway station. So it's quite a contrast really. When I started the journey here on my way up to York, it was grey, dark and misty. You couldn't even see the tops of either side, but I've come back, the sun shines out and it is beautiful. This is what it's all about. So before I go home, we're going to round off my final station of my northern trip for this year. And what better station than my favourite. So welcome to Edale. So Edale opened on the 25th of June 1894 by the Midland Railway. Now it was originally for the Door and Chinley line, but it currently stands on what is known as the Hope Valley line, which is the line from Manchester to Sheffield. So it's double track here and there are two platforms. It's managed by Northern, and service wise, of course, Northern, but you do get the inclusion of East Midlands Railway here. That is the first and last services of the day. So very few, but they do come here. And it's brilliant. Not only that, I will fully stand by what I say when I say for train spotting, this is so ideal. You get a mix of them two operating companies. You also get TransPennine Express coming through, and you get a lot of freight. There's Hopel sidings not too far down. You've got Peak Forest just the other side of Calburn Tunnel, which I will touch on shortly. And the variety is just, it's so immense here. You have to come and spend a few hours here just to believe me, but I'm pretty sure from previous episodes that I put on YouTube, you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying, and this is why it's my favourite, you know.
The timing of the sunset truly enhances the beauty of the Hope Valley, and this was the perfect way to end my journey. But this is also the beginning of plenty of adventures that you can have here in the Peak District.
So at Edale, if you go to the old Nag's Head pub, that is the official start of the Pennine Way, which is, I think, 200 and something miles up towards Kirkyateholm up in Scotland. And it takes a brave person to do that walk, it truly does. But nonetheless, either side, you've got Kinderscout and Mamtor. Now, I've been fortunate enough to be here quite a few times now, so I have pretty much done the whole of this valley. And it's 245 metres above sea level as well, so it's quite high up, and you wouldn't seem that being at the bottom of the valley. But nonetheless, it's fantastic. If you love your walking, and to be fair, whenever I've been here on weekends, you get a lot of walkers that do alight here and carry on with their day, and then on the train home to either Sheffield or Manchester, which is about 20 miles each way. So what more from a hiker's perspective as well? It's so well rounded, this area. That's why I love it.
Not only is Edale a favourite amongst walkers, but also along this line there are a few other key stations at Hope, Bamford and Grindleford for you to alight and get plenty of views, such as Lady Barrow Reservoir, Bamford Edge and the Longshore Estate at Grindleford, whilst exploring this amazing national park. And also the rail services here are very varied, which for the enthusiast is a massive bonus.
Now, if you are to go that way, down the line, I'm not putting my camera that way purely because of the sunset. It's taking all the imagery away from everything. But there is Calburn Tunnel, which is 3,385 metres long, and is also the deepest railway tunnel in England. Before you head there as well, you'll note that there is a classical old signal box, and either side there are semaphore signalling, which is brilliant. It really does give you that back in time feel, and I've said that before when I've been here over to Buxton, things like that. It doesn't feel like you're in the 21st century, apart from obviously when you see the locomotives and trains that come through here, but that's besides the point. You know, just before the signal box as well, there's a couple, you can just make out some sidings either side, which when you look back on old pictures, which I will try and find in either of these shelters, I think it's over there, it used to be a lot bigger here, and you'll see what I mean about the shelters as well. So let me pop back under and have another look. But it's great, isn't it?
It was a shame that the sunset behind me affected the quality of these images, but I do hope that you can make it out as best as you can. But it just goes to show that lines like this and also the nearby Buxton line are steeped in history, and it just goes to show that all you need to do is go out, pack a bag and explore these amazing lines which are full of history.
So with the station and like with some additional features, obviously I mentioned with the siding lines and everything, if you go into the car park which is just outside of this fence, there is the original station wall, and also as we're walking down there is the Penny Pot Cafe, which, oh, they do a lovely breakfast, but that is the original site of the old Edale station booking office. Obviously there's not any real trace left, but they do give a helping hand with giving you information on the train times in there, which is quite nice all the same. But from what I actually do like as well is what we're about to go under, and I'm going to turn round. So we've got this underpass which takes you from platform 1 where you get the train to Manchester and platform 2 where you get the train to Sheffield, and this is original and it is beautiful stonework. Now, built by the Victorians, of course this was built to last, and I think this is a great feature, and it's those little things, isn't it? And as I've said, many things add up here, and then when you come out on this side you're in full view of another pub called the Rambler Inn. So for your drinks and your food, you're very much sorted.
The Rambler Inn, I have to say, is an extremely nice place to go and have some food, so I highly recommend that if you're visiting here, you definitely go there for some food. But every time I do come here, it always gives me the impression that I have stepped back in time. And yes, there is the quietness, but I love the fact that you're away from the cities and away from the madness to truly recover.
Right then, so unfortunately this is the end of the episode and my northern adventure, so I won't be coming back up here for the remainder of this year, but I will be back in March with Graham. So I don't think there'll be much recording, but there are some stations of interest of which we will probably be filming at, so stay tuned for them. But all the same, being back here as many times as I have been, I always love it and it never ever gets boring. And it's always a pleasure to just, like I said, see the train station, well, railway station, see Kinder Scout, Mamtor and the Hope Valley in itself. It is honestly my favourite place with my favourite station, and as poetic as that sounds, it's time to get back in the car and drive all the way back to Milton Keynes, back to the city. But all the same, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me on my northern adventure, and yeah, as I've said before, if you want to see more or follow it, like and subscribe. That wind is picking up, so I think the valley's telling me to go, but nonetheless, I will see you next time down the line.